Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Hello and welcome to PUBG Mobile South Asia Pro Scrims Season 2 by Northern Gaming. I'm going to be your caster as well as analyst as well as host, and joining along is going to be the co-caster, analyst and host. It is none other than Necro and me, Blogger Gaming, once again to take you through these two incredible days. But boy, oh boy, this time around, Necro, we're looking at some new teams as well joining us, dude.
Exactly, some new teams joining us. A lot of fun. This is going to be some. This is going to be some incredible. I feel like this is going to be PMCO all over again. What do you think so?
Oh yes, exactly, dude. Because again, I've got the list in front of me, and I am genuinely flabbergasted by the names that I'm looking at. Because we've got Zeus Esports in there, we've got Seal Esports in there, and this is where things can go absolutely haywalk when it comes to the entire battleground. But with that, let's have a look at the prize pool. Where, of course, Necro, last week we were talking about, well, $2,000. This time around, it's again $2,000 on the line.
Exactly. I mean, $2,000. That's a lot of money right there, and this is what these teams are going to be fighting for mostly. I mean, the main priority is going to be the money because these are just scrims. I mean, let's be honest. And Zeus is back in the competition, boys, and this is where we know the high school bullies are stepping in the ground, and we are expecting some incredible domination, especially taking the fact in consideration these are scrims, and I'm pretty sure Zeus is just going to play without any pressure.
Absolutely, mate. I mean, again, Necro, when you look back onto the PMPL Season 3 days, right?
Yeah.
When exactly did we see this team under pressure? Honestly, it
Never.
I mean, pretty much never, right? Pretty much never.
Pretty much never.
It is just one of those.
That was just never the case. That was just never the case when we saw Zeus under pressure because they were always pushing any team. It didn't matter what team was in their front lines. They would just straight up push.
Absolutely, mate. With that, let's have a look at the point structure, which is, of course, going to be bringing us back to that 1 kill per every 1 point per every single kill, of course, along with which every chicken dinner, you get a 15-point lead compared to the other teams. But also keeping in mind the 13th to 16th position holders, the ones that are going to be sent back into the lobby, the first 3 teams to be sent back into the lobby, will be walking away with 0 points when it comes to those placement.
Exactly. 0 points, nada. You're not going to get any single points for falling in the 13th to 16th place. I mean, it's pretty much the same for 8th to 12th as well, right? I mean, that 1 point isn't going to be making a lot of difference unless it's those kills. I mean, when it's those kills points, then we have seen a lot of difference being made, especially from a squad like Stalwart Flex. How can we not mention them? Some incredible dominating performance in the past scrims was shown by that squad, and we are seeing them in Group A again.
Absolutely, and in here we of course do have Train to Kill right off the bat, followed very closely with XB Blood Legion. Now this also is a team that on the final day, day number 2 of season 1 of these scrims, were able to bring back a really good fighting squad for themselves. Move on towards Group B, we've got Team QWERTY, 7C Esports, PN Crew. I mean, again, you know these names are going to be creating a lot of havoc, but these 2 days, where exactly are we going to be moving on down towards? What teams are we going to have to keep on repeating again and again because their performance is going to be so on point? Well, once again, only time will tell.
Exactly. I mean, Vibes again is a team which is new inside these scrims, and in the previous times they went through quite a lot of roster changes. So I want to see how these changes are actually going to be proving for them inside this competition here. But now let's take a look at Group C as well. We have God's Reborn, Venom Legends, Zeus again, a new team, Astra Academy, a team from Wildcard. And we do know this team was outperforming a lot of teams in the wildcard as well. Let's take a look at the schedule. All 3 maps are, of course, going to be played on Erangel here.
Exactly, mate. Today we are going to be looking at Erangel, and Erangel. That is going to allow these teams to get comfortable within their own skin, within their own gameplay. But along with which, of course, we've got 3 games. But every single time we're going to be looking at individual groups. So we start off with Group A going against Group B. Then following in, it is going to be Group B, Group C, and then finally for match number 3, it's going to be once again, we will be Group C and Group A. So basically, every team is going to be looking at, rather every game that we see will have these teams playing 2 matches per group. So that's going to be good. 2 opportunities in the day, and that's going to be great.
Exactly. I mean, per day, you still have a lot of days going on in the future as well. You still have a lot of days in your favor. So, you know, in the start, you might as well just play pressure-free, you know, just to have fun. Maybe maybe we would see some stunts going on. Maybe we would see some backflips flips going on the bikes as well. Some buggy flips as well. I mean, in the PMPL, we have some memorable moments.
That is so true. That is so very true, mate. And again, I mean, that's not it, right? So many times we've actually seen a lot of these rivalries being created right off the bat as well. When you talk about a team like, let's take Stalwart Flex, for example, right? We know for a fact that when it comes to their drop location, many times we saw their drop location being contested, and that resulted in quite an interesting rivalry that was being brought on, again, on different maps, of course. Right now, we're going to be looking at Erangel, so that military base is going to be in the crosshairs for a lot of these teams. I think, I hope, I do not know.
I mean, Stalwart Flex is a team that does like to go towards military base, and if any team wants to challenge them, then it's going to be a tough competition. But in PMPL, if you remember in the league stages, I don't remember the exact day, but Zeus actually dropped inside the military base and challenged head-on Stalwart Flex, and they actually wiped them out.
Wow, absolutely, mate, absolutely. And that is what I'm waiting for. That is exactly what I'm waiting for, because that's going to make things so much more interesting for us as well as the viewers. Because after all, when it comes to the scrims, right, that is something that I was discussing in the previous week, Season 1 scrims as well. The word of the day, the word of this entire season is going to be scrims. So every single time we step into these matches, these teams better keep that in mind, because after all, it is more of an experimentation days that they've got. You know, they can bring in the craziest, wildest dreams that they possibly had when it comes to their synergy on an individual area of the game, of the map itself, and then try and see how good can they be. And again, I'm hoping for some real wild cards to be thrown from these teams today.
Exactly. I mean, that's for sure. As you did mention, in the end of the day, scrims, no matter what goes on, you should never take these losses to your heart. It's fine. You always have a new day. You always have new things showing up. Scrims is more kind of like meant for experimentation with your strategies. As I did mention, Wiped, a team that is so good from the Nepal region, has went through a lot of changes. In the past as well. And now I want to see how they are going to be performing inside these scrims. If they're going to be performing good, then maybe, yes, they have a solid team in their hands. But also, if any other team, any other big teams are outperforming, if they're not really doing that good, then we also do know, okay, maybe they're just playing free because of scrims.
Absolutely, mate. And in that doing so, one question that, well, as you were talking about these teams, right, one question that just popped in my head was, will we see the same sort of gameplay coming in from Zeus? Will we see the same sort of gameplay coming in from the other teams that have actually played throughout the PMPL against a team like Zeus? And again, I mean, you know, to have that accolade for yourself that they've played against this sort of an experienced team, will they be able to, you know, bring them down to their knees, or will it be a complete different story altogether where Zeus is going to be dominating again and again? And hopefully not, but that's again going to be one of those wild cards, I think.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty good question, and to be honest, I really feel like Zeus is going to be playing it like just a normal day in the office, you know. It's just like they're going to be playing some normal lobby queues. It's just like, okay, let's do a 4-man stack. Okay, we're going inside a lobby. It doesn't matter what it is. Remember, we're playing against normal players. It doesn't matter what it is, and I really feel like that's how Zeus are going to be playing, just a normal lobby queue.
Absolutely, mate. Because again, I mean, when you talk about the competition, yes, there is competition amongst the entirety of the lobby, but which team, lads, is going to be taking that glorious chicken dinner for this first game of Season 2? Let's find out. Let's jump into the game and have a look at this playing battleground awesomeness that is about to get started. And with that, once again, I mean, again, Necro, you have to genuinely chime into this, mate. Why is it that the Observer every single time ends up choosing T2K and follows them along in that initial early stages, right?
Well, I mean, it's maybe because they're the first in the lobby, and the slot they've gone is the second place, and maybe because the default camera session automatically just falls onto them, and this is why we have here. But let's take a look at the plane fly path. I mean, pretty decent, but more kind of a southern plane fly path. Teams that want to go to a shooting range will have a tough time, but teams that like to go to a Sosnovka military base will have an absolute amazing playtime.
Absolutely, mate. With that, the plane certainly seems to be missing from the map, but eventually we know where it's leading down towards, and that is going to be towards the Milta Power for now. And in that doing so, so many of these teams that do like to, well, never mind that conversation that I was about to bring up, but looking at PN Crew's drop location, interesting that they've moved on towards the extreme western side of the map compared to their ferry pier that used to be their location, right?
Exactly. I mean, interesting changes, you know. And also, I want to point one more thing out. We have Seal back in the competition. And
yes.
during the PMPL days, some interesting changes were being shown from these lads, you know. We saw some roster changes coming in out of nowhere. And in the first week, they were doing absolutely fantastic. The second week, they were down bad. And in the third week, they did kind of decent. So things were kind of looking pretty wobbly and wiggly for Seal. But the first week, I really feel like this is where they dominated pretty hard.
They most certainly did. I mean, the way they were able to just get those chicken dinners for themselves back to back
Yep.
was phenomenal to be able to see, right? I mean, you talk about a super weekend working in your favor. That is just the perfect class 101 that the entire lobby needed to see. And resulting based on just that first super weekend, the team was able to get themselves all the way into the finals. And that, again, showcases the kind of domination this region brings to the lobby, which is, of course, going to be the Mongolian region.
Exactly. Mongolian region always showing that domination inside the games. But as we did mention, a team like Stalwart Flex isn't a team that can be counted out. Now, we might see some early engagements happening between Seal and Stalwart Flex. And which one would come out on top, only time would tell. But because this fight would be an interesting one to witness.
Absolutely, mate. For now, we are, like you just so beautifully said, we are right now looking on towards these two teams. That's going to be Stalwart Esports and Stalwart Flex, where all four lads certainly do have the information, ought to have the information, as they saw themselves parachute. Their opponents saw them parachute down into that region that they're in, and that is going to be resulting in an early skirmish is what I'm hoping. But right here, on to the other side, it is going to be 7Cs, another team that was looking really good when it came down to their first day's performance during the Erangel map, where they were second, walked away with 13 kills, this team, on day number 1 of Season 1.
That's for sure. But now already a knockdown happening inside the Pachinka area that is expected to have some early collision. And now it seems like already two teams have collided against each other. 7C going up against APES. And APES, we do know in wildcard, they absolutely dominated the entire playing field. Are they going to be able to do it again? Now 7C seems like they are in quite a bit of trouble. Those nades are causing quite a lot of rumpus. But Rick kind of has a anonymous position inside this little watchtower. And I really feel like his position is going to be playing a massive part inside this entire fight. As soon as one of the APES player decides to cross the area from that 3-story building, I really feel like Rick, this is where he would find his right moment to strike.
Absolutely, mate. Right here, APES Hustler might have just spotted the team 7C's player onto that watchtower, but certainly has resulted. I mean, again, when it comes to APES' approach to this entire compound and the way they're pushing on towards the side of 7Cs, this is just phenomenal turn of events. Absolute synergy being showcased from this team. And I mean, again, wildcard teams, they certainly bring an X factor to their gameplay, no matter what game you end up watching.
That's for sure. The wildcard teams always bring that excitement and more kind of like the X factor, as you did mention in the game. 7C, up till now, it's more kind of like a stare-down competition. Both of these teams are waiting for each other to make a mistake. As we were talking about Rick, I told you he had an incredible positioning in that watchtower, and finally he found his right moment to strike. Hustler went down while he was trying to cross in. And this is quite an unfortunate moment for APES because they need to get the res onto them. But Rick is still watching the cross, and he's not going to let them cross away that easily.
Well, Rick certainly needs to get that kill confirmed. That's what he's trying at least. But again, APES did not expect this retaliation coming in from the side of 7C. And in that, doing so, 7C now have an upper hand in this battle. They've got all 4 members all revived and looking real strong and looking real good. With a couple of interesting strats being brought in from them. This is looking like a 2v2 situation. Not a 2v2 apologies, but certainly a 3v2 situation where 7C's Rig has been able to get that 1 kill confirmed from the side of APES. So now APES is at the receiving end.
APES is on the receiving end now. Tables have been turned. The tables have been flipped from the side of 7C. This fight is taking quite a long time. None of these teams wants to make any rookie mistake, which is understandable. And it seems like 7C is waiting for APES to make a small mistake. Any small mistake is going to be enough to take one player down, and the opening will be found for 7C.
Well, the way 7C's players are getting themselves set up in just that one house, that could result in them well, finding themselves in a tricky situation because there we go. It is APES Sancher who certainly had the information as he was able to see the players of 7C, move on along from that one compound to the other, and he had that upper hand approach. But with that, it is 7C's Fear who walked into that small little storage facility that resulted in him being sent back. And it is now a 3v3 all-out war right here. Who is going to be getting the better half amongst them? When it comes to the utilities, it is not looking too good as the utilities are being utilized from both sides. But eventually, what a wonderful turn of events. APES and 7C. Perfect war.
That was a beautiful crossfire setup coming in from the side of 7C. As soon as one player went down, TrueLove was there, peeking the window, took him down instantly. Now things are pretty much even out. It's a one-on-two competition. He is going to be taking one down, but it doesn't matter. White is there to provide that backup fire and then beautiful plays coming in from the side of APES. And this is how you get your teammates back secured. But in the kill feed as well, we are seeing a little bit of rumpus being caused here and there.
Absolutely, that was Team Vibe taking a upper hand when it came to that fight that was happening on a different side of the map altogether. But right here, talking about upper hands, it is certainly the team that initially pushed on along towards the side of 7Cs is the one that has been able to walk away from that situation. And right here, we see this is Vibe, and a team that they're trying to bring down is going to be Skylight from the looks of it. And Joker has been brought down from the same side. When you talk about Vibe, they also have one man down, but will certainly be able to get a revive for the moment.
Well, we'll be there. Till now, not a lot of things being happened, but we are seeing a lot of teams being accumulated in the center of the zone, which is a pretty common strategy. We do know it doesn't matter where the circle shifts. If you're in the center, you're pretty much close to the next zone, and it does make sense as well. Finally, we see Seal making the move on the bridge lines as well, but there's two teams camping out the bridge, and this is where the surprising factor is going to hit Seal, and how are they going to be able to recover from such kind of a situation.
Boy, oh boy, this is looking real good. I'm liking the fact that so many of these teams, when it comes down to the circle itself, are all looking pretty comfortable. There are no late rotations, at least from what I can see as of now. But again, as you were just so perfectly mentioning, when it comes to those bridge camps, there are going to be a few of those teams that will certainly be looking on down to control a lot of that bridge area. And right here, we can clearly see that Train to Kill are the ones who are trying to retain information from, or rather against Seal Esports. And Seal Esports is the one who's pushing along from that southern edge. That is from Nova Reply.
Oh, I don't really know if shooting there was a good choice because he did get punished instantly. Just in a matter of seconds, it's going to be Lunu69 taking him down without any trouble. R3D seems like not really having the time of their life, even though they have one of the best covers. It seems like Seal's mechanical aim is just way better. And it doesn't matter what kind of cover you have. Seal is going to be punishing that, taking them down to their knees. Baron and Daria still alive. That nade might be damaging, but it doesn't seem like Point made it to its mark. But yes! It's going to be Zaki taking him down from the back lines. Beautiful flank angle being created. And Seal again putting pressure on the entire team of R3D and proving their grounds, proving their legacy from the PMPL. The way these guys challenge fights is just an absolute beauty.
Absolutely, mate. It is certainly a wonderful moment to be able to see when this team tries to, take a fight. And every single time that they do so, they are the ones who are in control. Even though R3D were the ones who did try and bring in that early knock to the side of Seal Esports. But as you so mentioned, that probably was not the right decision from the side of R3D to take, as they were in the open. So was Seal Esports. But Seal Esports, they're always on point when it comes to those crosshair points and situations. And that is what has resulted in Seal, from the looks of it, controlling this fight from all out in the open. Zaki on the back angle, as you had mentioned, is on a completely wonderful turn of events where he could genuinely bring in a lot of fearful destruction for the side of R3D. And along with him, it seems like Mun was joining in towards that X-Factor retaliation as well with a flank.
Oh, here comes the casualty on the side of Seal. Now the pressure is kind of even as things are down to a 3-on-3. R3D found themselves that evening spot, found themselves that sweet spot that we're looking for. But there's still two more players in the flank angle. R3D realizing that, falling back, Nora as well. And now they are trying to find the opening. It seems like APES as well, somewhere down the line in the other side of the map, are opening things to get up against the players of Vibes. And now here comes the confirmation. R3D is hungry for blood. They need the confirmation of the kill that they've gotten. But there's so many players in the backlines that can provide the cover fire and make sure the confirmation is not there. Anubis, yes, not being a little too greedy is going to be costing you his life. Anubis has been taken down. It certainly did not go R3D's way. R3D should not be so aggressive. Maybe sometimes they should hold their horses out and let the body bleed out, because this is what the situation pretty much looks like. Another opening by Vera has been found, and this is what is going to be turning a lot of things in favor of Seal.
Absolutely, mate. It certainly has seemed turned into a 3v1 situation where Joker Sir is the only one who seems to be alive, but not for long. As I talk about him, he is being brought down as well, and the entirety of the team of R3D has been sent back into the lobby, and it is Seal Esports still standing strong with all 4 members alive. On the other side, as you had mentioned, having a look at the kill feed itself, it was APES who had 3 players alive, moved on along after getting the kills confirmed in the early skirmish that we saw. They moved on along towards the players of Vibe, and they seem to have gotten a few more points from that team as well.
Unfortunate stuff, as you did mention. And now TUF, quite out in the open. Interesting position they have gotten for themselves. Sometimes this kind of position can actually get you caught off guard from the back lines and even from the front lines, and it's not really a great side to watch. If you're getting sandwiched, you're not going to enjoy such kind of times. But here comes the circle shift, kind of shifting towards the apartment area of the school, and this is where TUF will need to make at least a little rotation if they want to get in the center of the circle. We are seeing a lot of rotations being happening, and there are still a little teams on the bottom right side of the map, and I want to see when they will find themselves that sweet spot. Of course, Seal being the one, and they just wiped out a strong squad like R3D. I'm pretty sure they are feeling good.
Absolutely, mate. But talking about those rotations, you were just talking about the southern side of the map. Let's gauge our conversation towards the top side, which is going to be towards the Rozhok area, where we see INES bringing in a late rotation for themselves. There's no team that is as of now going to be in their vicinity, but as they try and get in towards the center of the circle is where things can get a bit tricky. But talking about tricky situations, it is TUF right now getting themselves caught off guard in this tricky battle that they are a part of in the all in the open, and it is Vibe right there on the upper hill. And right in front of them, TUF has PN Cruz. So this seems like a sandwich situation that TUF should be able to, walk away with only a few knocks perhaps, but not more than that, because they certainly have the cover working for themselves, they have the compound working for themselves, and they're really, really close to the circle's edge as well. But Vibe is on top of that hill. Now, if Vibe does end up sticking to that position, that is where the rotation for TUF could be troublesome.
In the kill feed as well, TRZ seems like they are going head-to-head against the players of QWERTY, as Destroyer already found himself the opening that they were looking for. Woltrix kind of in the backlines trying to provide as much as cover as possible. TRZ again, a team from PMCO, which is doing quite good, but because of some unfortunate measures, weren't really able to qualify. Those nades might be troublesome for Woltrix, and yes, it will be. Woltrix unfortunately killed himself with that nade, and an unfortunate turn of events. Woltrix's nade actually bounced on the window's edge and caught himself off guard.
Absolutely, mate. This is not looking good. It's certainly a nade parade coming in from the side of TRZ, but on the other side, when you talk about the receiving team, it is Team QWERTY that we earlier knew as Team F4. These lads have joined into this lobby with only a 3-man squad. That too has been brought down to a 2-man squad, and one of them, that is Woltrix, is not looking good as he has been knocked on the other side. The only man alive is going to be Destroyer, but again, how long are you going to be able to walk in fire, mate, when you know there's destruction all around you? You have to go down, and TRZ are the ones getting on top of this fight.
Well, I mean, TRZ is definitely one of the most strongest teams inside this entire scrims, and again, proving. But Woltrix's mistake is what I feel like costed QWERTY their life, because if he was still alive, I'm pretty sure from the back lines, Woltrix's cover would have been pretty golden inside the moment. But Woltrix's unfortunate death is actually his nade collided against the window's edge and then fell right next to him, and he didn't really realize what was going on, and that's how Woltrix's death happened. But in that fight, I really feel like QWERTY had the edge against the players of TRZ, because they already found themselves the opening they were looking for. Destroyer was the man who found the opening, but again, somehow they managed to lose that entire fight, and TRZ flipped the tables against the players of QWERTY. Here we see Stalwart Flex as well making the move inside the circle. They need to realize that TDK is right in the front lines, and this Shag might not be a lot safe if they are making to keep it as their home.
Exactly. Right now, all the teams, as we move in towards these final few circles, are going to be trying to get themselves in the zone, but especially not only in the zone, but also next to a compound that they could call their own, a compound that's going to, result in keeping them safe, taking them away from the lead barrage that's going to be starting in a few minutes from now. And this is where T2K have gotten themselves in the center of the circle, looking real strong. They've got the compound, and now the conversation is going to be, are they going to be hold on to that? Because that is where so many of these teams' crosshairs are going to be pointed towards. Talk about Stalwart Flex Uzum. He was the one, as you were just mentioning, who seemed to have found himself a pretty decent, comfortable looking small little housey thingy over there. But once again, I mean, it's more like a shed, right? The small thing that he's in. The shed is certainly going to get barraged from left, right, and center. And Uzum, thankfully, is the only man in there. His entire team is at the back end, on top of the hill. So if at all Uzum sees some retaliation coming in, he could very well get that information relayed to his teammates. And that is where cover fire is probably going to result in them getting the upper hand of that fight. That's going to be Stalwart Flex. But bring that conversation towards T2K. Well, you're in the center, you've got a really good compound, but you better not be making a lot of moves in there, mate. You'd better not be baking a cake in there, mate, because after all, as you do so, you're going to have to move. As you do move, you are giving away information, and TUF right there, ready with their crosshairs to retaliate.
I'm going to be totally honest inside the situation. I don't really like the split coming in from the side of Stalwart Flex. If Uzum gets taken down, making the rotation towards Uzum is going to be one of the most trickiest things. And stuff wouldn't really be looking good for them. But inside, as you did say, maybe they should not be baking a cake, TDK. They should not be trying to make a lot of sound. It does make sense what you're trying to say. But again, a lot of fights are happening around, and sometimes the curiosity hits you. Maybe you want to get 1 or 2 kills here and there. And that's how sometimes you make rookie mistakes as well.
True, that is so very true. That's exactly what I was trying to mention in that sentence, mate. Because again, when you are looking pretty comfortable, right, that is when you're ready to pretty much start enjoying the moment that you're in the center of the circle, and you've got compound working as well in your favor. That's when you get a bit cocky and you're like, all right, you know what, things are working in our favor, the circle's working in our favor, so why not try and get more kills? As you peek out, as you try and do so, that is where things go absolutely backfiring for your squad. That is where things might not be turning into your favor. But that's again a conversation for another time, because that's all hypothetical. Right now, as we bring the conversation towards the side of Seal Esports, looking dominating with 6 kills, and as they push on along towards this squad, there is no way that Seal Esports can be stopped. On the other end, it is going to be PN Cruz Ayush trying to save his teammate right there, but XP Legion are ready and prepped, and also XP Legion have all 4 members alive.
Exactly. Riddle is there in the right lines as well, making that smoke wall. He does know he needs to make a flank angle if he wants to confirm the kill, but Sundish is still there in the back lines. Now his position is pretty much anonymous, but this Molotov can just make it. This Molotov can deal a lot of damage, and maybe trying to, just collateral damage through that wall, but let me tell you, Gyro, in the game of PUBG, that's not possible.
Exactly, mate. I mean, we know cement is strong, but in PUBG, that is really, really strong. It is not going to allow those bullets, those lead to get through, and that is what has resulted in QWERTY being revived from PN Cruz Ayush. And now both these lads, they've got their perfect-looking buggy as well as the car, and they're going to be moving into the zone, and that is something that could result in backfiring for them as well, because again, when you talk about the other team that they're rushing along with, it is XP Legion. XP Legion have themselves set up in front of that team, and they're going to be reaching the compound much more sooner. Along with that, they have certainly done so. They are going to be retaliating. That's going to be D1 and be pushing on alongside of Deadeyes for the moment.
Now, Blood Legion, seems like hell has collapsed right on their backs, as they are not really looking good inside this entire fight. Deadeyes is the team that brought the entire hell-breaking blues on the players of Blood Legion, and now it's just down to that one last man standing. Surviving, but for how long is going to be the answer? Hungrybox probably spotted him out as well. Beautiful waltzing right outside that window. He did know he got just inside that little crack, and he did take him down. But INES seems like they want to join the fray as well. They want to taste a little bit of blood, and now it seems like INES are joining the third party. They want the blood. They smell the blood. It's only a matter of seconds when they find themselves the knock.
Absolutely, it was a really good moment where INES certainly could have had that third party working in their favor, but as they tried to do so, Deadeyes Guys had themselves pretty much set up. They had the composure working in their favor, and again, you know, Deadeyes, the experience that they bring to the lobby, the experience that they bring to the table is something that cannot be shied away from, and that is what is resulting in Deadeyes Guys getting the better hand of INES, who are out in the open and slowly and steadily are being knocked one by one by one. But on the other tangent is going to be A1 Esports getting themselves in the circle as we look onto the map now.
Exactly. Things are now really looking good. A lot of teams are closing distance on themselves. And it seems like INES aren't really having the time of their life. They have been absolutely wiped out the game as well. It seems like Deadeyes are going to be doing it. But P and Crew following the wipeout as well. They have been taken down by A1 Esports. That incredible nade is going to be enough to damage the entire squad and wipe them out. We do know A1 Esports has one of the best players inside the Bangladesh region, including Sinister. I personally love that man a lot. Seen in the past as well. Play pretty good. And I know this man has the caliber to wipe out the entire lobby as well.
Well, that certainly seems to be the case. When PN Crews, Ayush and QWERTY tried to rally against A1 Esports, they were not able to do so because A1 Esports made is all that it took to bring that team down. But right now, as we move the conversation towards TUP and Vibe, it was only one man surviving from the side of TUP from the looks of it as far as this compound is concerned, and it is of course going to be Vibe that will get the better half of that conversation. Move that conversation towards Stalwart Flex. A three-man strong army as of now. They've got 0 kills for the moment. They've got a lot of information. They've got the compound working in their favor. How exactly are they going to be able to convert this for themselves? On the other side, of course, is going to be A1 Esports talking about that small little shed. They've got smoke wall as well as the shed working in their favor, but it is Deadeyes now that have moved into the open circle, and both these teams could either be pushing themselves back into the lobby, pushing each other into the lobby, or that could very well be a third-party situation as well right now.
Pretty much the third-party situations always do happen in the game of PUBG, and this is what keeps the more kind of like interest inside the game as well, because when the third parties happen, a lot of players aren't really happy about such kind of unfortunate things happening, but Vibes are still alive and good looking inside the game. And as I did mention, the new roster is looking pretty good. It seems like they've got Jiggle on their side this time, and an incredible player coming in from the squad of Carnage. And again, we do expect such kind of an incredible performance from that man as well. And it seems like Vibe has finally signed in Jiggle on their side. But Uzum, kind of an interesting position right behind that buggy. Is Vibe's going to be expecting him to be there?
Well, for now, this is going to be an interesting turn of events because after all, Stalwart Flex will have to push on along towards the location of Uzum as he is in the open. There is Skylightz, 2 players who are holding on to the small little shed for themselves. They've got the smoke wall set up as well, but this is going to be a bit of a tricky situation because they cannot see. That's exactly what I was talking about. Stalwart Flex, as they try and get themselves into the circle, they are going to be out in the open, and that's when things can go very, very wrong for them. And bringing the conversation towards A1 Esports, they are still looking pretty comfortable next to this small little hut, and they have so many utilities working in their favor, and also bringing in kills for themselves. To talk about Deadeyes, they were looking pretty strong with 10 defeats for themselves, 10 points, that is right there. And A1 Esports right now currently have 7 defeats. So again, both the teams that are out towards the north of this area that we're looking at are looking pretty comfortable with when it comes to the kill department. Skylightz just holding that position for themselves. Only 2-man strong army for the moment, but it is Flex that need to bring themselves into a better location.
That's for sure. And now Sinister bleeding out pretty fast, pretty quick. The res will be there without any trouble, but it seems like no is going to be the answer because A1 Esports are falling and crumbling apart as there was a surprise factor in the game, and of course Jiggle is going to be striking at the right moment. Vibes is still alive with all their 3 players, including a Deadeyes and including Stalwart Flex as well. Uzum taken down. Now Stalwart Flex is just down to a 2-man squad, but Crypto is still alive. The man, the myth, the legend is still in the game.
And as you say, he has been knocked out. Oh boy, this was not the real
curse.
Yeah, dude, I was just not wanting to say it, but indeed, that certainly seems to be the case. With that, we are left with Stalwart Flex, only 1-man strong army, but on the other side, Deadeyes Guys, they seem to have gotten away pretty comfortably comfortably when it came down to that third-party situation. That wide trip against A1 Esports, Deadeyes utilized that position and have now pushed on alongside the side of Skylightz Gaming. And Demon has been knocked out. Leaves only one man remaining from the side of Skylightz, and that one man, how long is he going to be able to survive? Not for long is the answer, because Deadeyes had once again a really good flank approach that resulted in that team getting the better half of this fight, resulting in 3 members that are going to be walking away with 11 kills to this team. We've got 1 player from Stalwart Flex, and of course alongside we have 3 players from Vibe for the moment. So it's a 3v1 situation.
Exactly. I mean, Skylightz Gaming is pretty much dominating a lot inside the entire zone. And I would like to mention this as well. Of course, these teams, Deadeyes, including Skylightz Gaming as well, Team K, Stalwart Flex. I mean, most of these teams have played the PMPL, so they do have a lot of experience on their backpacks. And now Deadeyes, and they do know straight forward is their winning team. If they take them down, they're going to get the entire competition in their heads. And we do see Deadeyes kind of approaching pretty slowly on the fight as well. They do not want to be too curious. They do not want to be too aggressive and maybe just give their kills away that easily. But we see a smoke wall being built from the side of Vibes. They do need to make it inside the circle. Maybe, you know, just try to make it in the center, at least to the center, so they wouldn't get caught off guard by the zone.
Absolutely, mate. With that, we know when it comes to Deadeyes, guys, they love those flanking angles, and that's exactly what we've seen coming in from the side of On Top, where Vibe Esports, Manish is the one who seems to be wanting to take the left flank approach for his team, but they're only a 2-man strong army for the moment, and On Top is right in front of him. He still has his backpack. He's in the open, and that could result in Vibe's player being pushed off. But this is going to be interesting, where Manish could very well get an upper hand, because he is in the open. He certainly knows where On Top's fight is coming on from, where On Top's firepower is coming on from, and those perfect few moments, perfect moments have been taken away from the side of Vibe. It is still a 3v2 situation. The smoke seems to be dissipating. Malek, you are in the open, mate. You better get away from that situation. But Manish gets the upper hand. It has resulted in a 2v2 situation, and this is where we will get to see who will be on top now, mate.
Equal situation, a 2-on-2 competition. Beautiful. Just a little glimpse was enough for Manish to take that one player down from Deadeyes. Now this competition is actually making me pretty curious. I want to see which team comes out on top, because both these teams are pretty top tier. And it seems like Vibes has just signed in the entire roster of Carnage. And this is quite interesting. So Vibes is basically now the Carnage, but they are signed under the name of Vibes. Same player, just the name is different. And Vibes, again, it seems like they're just trying to spot out the glimpse that they're looking for. Deadeyes, Suyok, sir, I really feel like his backpack might just be visible a little too much. Suyok needs to watch out, but he still has that massive bush right in front of him to maybe provide that little bit of visual cover. But the circle will be closing in any moment, and they will need to watch out.
Oh, and with that, it is Hungrybox who seems to get the better half of that. But eventually, it was Malek once again who stood up for his team. But boy, oh boy, what a wonderful fight this has resulted in. Resulting in Deadeyes Guys walking away with 15 kills right off the bat. Looking really, really good, this team right here. And Vibe Esports, comfortable turnover wins where they have 14 kills. So beautiful turnover wins. But Stalwart Flex, talk about consistency. Not able to bring in a lot of kills, rather no kill whatsoever at all. But they did still land themselves with the third position.
Third position, completely opposite what we saw in the finals of these scrims. You know, first we saw Stalwart Flex absolutely dominate in that kill department, and now we are seeing Deadeyes dominate in the kill department, as well as getting the chicken dinner for themselves. And this is the consistency that I'm talking about.
Absolutely, mate. Because again, I mean, you talk about season 1, day 1, it was a different state of affair, where indeed, when you talk about Stalwart Flex, it was Reviews who was able to walk away with 8 kills on that particular day. Yep. But this time around, the entirety of the team has not been able to get any kill whatsoever at all. But move that conversation towards the latter half, or the bottom half of the leaderboard, is where you talk about the teams that were sent first into the lobby. That it is APES, R3D, and 7C. Well, thankfully, 7C did have that 1 kill working in their favor, so that's going to be pretty good. But again, you talk about placement points, they have none for the moment.
Pretty unfortunate stuff. I mean, R3D, as you did mention, the team did get wiped out quite early by the squad of
True.
Seal, and unfortunate turn of events. But Seal again is a stronger squad, and we want to see the zone magnets in play again, just like in PMPL we saw in the first week. Maybe we'll see the zone magnets back in the track, and
Exactly.
that also reminds me of a team in PMCO. Those were the zone magnets as well. It was actually LOG1, if I remember. And this team was actually the zone magnets. No matter wherever they go, the zone would always follow them. And the final circuit will be always on them as well. So, I mean, they just always remind me of that team. Whenever I see them, I just always remember this PMCO team.
Well, again, there are going to be so many moments, right? So many moments, so much of history between all of these teams, thus implying so many different moments that every single viewer will have when they look at. I mean, it's almost like, deja vu sort of situations many times, because these are the same map, these are the same players, but every single time they're able to bring in a different element to their skill, to their gameplay, that results in us loving them that much more. But eventually, again, Scrims Season 2, day number 1, off to a great start with this first game. Now, as we move on along, do want to see, as you were mentioning, certainly do want to see what else are the Mongolian factions going to be bringing to the table, because after all, it is looking really strong for them. No question about it. We saw TRZ Esports bring in a lot of kills for themselves. They're certainly going to be looking pretty comfortable with the points that they've been able to attain for now. But again, this is just day number 1, game number 1. We've got not many games still remaining.
Exactly, a lot of games, but what matters the most is that in the next group, we have Zeus coming up, Lauder,
Oh,
and
yes.
I want to see what kind of domination are they going to be showing on the field. I mean, it's an always an sight and an honor to witness this team absolutely dominate the entire field. But let's take a look at the match ranking, as Deadeyes did get the chicken dinner with 15 points in their hands and 15 kills. That's going to be giving them 30 points. That's a lot of points to start off the first game with. That's going to be putting them quite a lot higher in the points table. As Vibes with 12 kills, 14 for 12 points, 14 kills, 26 points. Not bad. Then we have A1 Esports, Skylightz Gaming, and Stalwart Flex right at the 5th position. These are the top 5 teams from that game 1.
And move on towards the second half of the leaderboard. That is where we've got teams like Crane to kill. Interesting turn of events right here, which is on the 15th position, R3D on the 16th position. As we saw R3D try and take that fight against TRZ Esports, but were not able to confirm those kills, thus resulting in them being sent back into the lobby. Real initial moments, but INES, now they made a late rotation. They made a really late rotation into the circle from the northern edges, but as they tried to bring that fight, tried to take that fight, they were not able to walk away with those kills, and thus have only 1 point for the moment. Though again, viewers, keep in mind this is just game number 1, as it clearly states up top, thus implying that there are still match number 2 and match number 3 remaining for our first day of season 2.
Exactly. I mean, still 2 more games. A lot of things can happen, but the groups are changing.
Yes.
And some groups are going to be having 1 chances in the first day, and if you're not really able to prove your points, then stuff would be pretty tough. 2 chances per day, and in those 2 chances, if you're not really able to keep yourself up top on the leaderboards, then things would be quite tough. But the first day, if you're going to be getting the momentum going in your favor, then we do know, stuff does get pretty interesting.
Absolutely does, mate, and that's going to make it that much more wonderful and lucrative for us to, genuinely be excited about what you expect from these teams. Because again, as you said perfectly, groups are going to be changing, thus implying that, what approach you had, group number A or group number B or group number C in the previous game is going to be now having to result with a little bit of an altercation when it comes to either the drop location, either the rotation itself, and that is where Scrims, the word Scrims, always stands out. And in that doing so, these teams are right off the bat looking very, very strong. A few of them have not been able to showcase that mark thus far, but again, it's just the start of the day. We never know what they're going to be bringing to the table every single match that we step into. With that, we're going to go on a very, very short break, lads. Stick around. We're going to be right back.
PUBG Mobile, Godzilla vs. Kong, all new collaboration, live now. In the latest version of PUBG Mobile, players may encounter titans during a match, just like in the movies. Let's learn more about the all new game modes, shall we? Titan Strikes. The Titan Strikes mode introduces 3 titans to Erangel, Sandhook, and Livet. Godzilla and Kong move along designated routes across the map. Players can chase after them in vehicles, but if you get too close, you'll be knocked down and take damage. When Titans get ready to unleash a heat ray, the system will prompt players to leave the red zone marked on the minimap. Players equipped with high-level armor receive reduced damage from the heat ray. Titans will absorb energy which emanates gradually from the earth. Once the energy reaches a certain threshold, Titans release it and create Titan crystals around them. Different types of Titan crystals provide different effects. Erangel's blue Titan crystals are special throwable items that players can equip. They knock back and burn enemies who are behind cover. Sandhook's gold Titan crystals enhance players' abilities, making you run faster and jump higher. Livet's red Titan crystals give players the ability to detect enemies nearby for a brief period of time. These enhancement items give players an edge in battle. Use them and bring the chicken dinner home. With the help of Titan crystals, players have even more unique tactics to achieve victory. Godzilla and Kong roam Erangel and Sandhook respectively, and players may bump into them on Spawn Island. Players can preview the Titan's route on the minimap, along with Apex Cybernetics, and low, mid, and high-level monster settlements. Apex Cybernetics are scattered along the Titan's route, which contains many valuable supplies. However, players can only enter the facility after a Titan has destroyed the base. Players that arrive early will not be able to get into the highly fortified Apex camp. At the same time, defeating different monster settlements rewards good supplies. Monster settlements are mainly occupied by lizards and crabs. Players can use a diversion to divide and conquer. The monsters are big, so using a shotgun at close range can deal huge damage. Players must also be wary of the Titan's attacks. Although they're not hostile towards players, they get irritated when there's too many players around. The Titan on Livet has unique electromagnetic abilities that affect the blue zone and cause it to shift every once in a while. Now, players must pay constant attention to the new play zones and transfer immediately when they begin to shrink, as to ensure they're not swallowed by the blue zone. Furthermore, Mechagodzilla periodically scans an area of the safe zone and marks the locations of everyone in the area on the minimap. This urges players to transfer or engage their enemies. Players must be extra careful. The Titan Strikes game mode is based on Battle Royale. Players must strive to be the last one standing amidst battling other players and Titans. With the addition of Titans, players are ready to witness their majesty and get their hands on the mysterious Titan crystals. Enjoy the all-new Titan Strikes and experience the earth-shattering might of the Titans.
Hello and welcome back once again to PUBG Mobile South Asia Pro Scrims Season 2 by Not1 Gaming. Season 1 came down to a wonderful turn of wins, but talk about Season 2, it is off to an incredible grindy start. Because again, I'm a Necro. You were just mentioning, lad, when it came down to the teams, we now have those X-Factor teams chiming along.
Exactly. New teams and some new roster changes as well, as I did mention. And interesting stuff have been started. And it seems like some of the teams are pretty much, colliding against each other, but they're having a tough time. Teams like R3D, QWERTY aren't really able to show up. But in this group, we have Zeus making a comeback, and I really want to see where are they going to be dropping? Because that's one of the most interesting things to witness.
Absolutely, mate. We've got Zeus chiming in. We've got DRS Gaming this time around chiming in as well. These are teams. These are teams that are from group number C. Now, talking about the flight path. Again, a very similar flight path to the first game that we witnessed. Last time we saw the plane take a turn towards the side of Milta. This time they seem to be going on down towards the side of Novorupnoi. But eventually, again, thus implying that teams that like to go on towards the northern part of the map, for example, Zeus, of course, they love that Georgia Pole location. They seem to have jumped right off that first second that they got to hit that jump point. But now, here we have so many of these teams that are going to have to retaliate for a good position. But again, right off, we are looking at God's Esports. No, this is God's Reborn. My apologies there. That seems to have already had a knock. Youch.
Well, things have already started pretty heated up inside this entire game. And now Zeus seems like they have found themselves a home in Georgia Pool. Interesting drop spot, but there's INES right next to them. The collision from PMPL is happening again, and it seems like this is going to be a massive turn of events for both these teams, because I want to see if INES are ready for Zeus this time, because in PMPL, they were getting wiped pretty much all the time whenever Zeus decided to come inside Georgia Pool. But is the history going to be repeating itself? It seems like PN Group already going head-to-head against the players. It seems like there are some crossfire being set up from the side of God's Reborn as well. Zeus, PN Crew is looking for a revenge. It's not that easy. Sketch spotted out from the side of PN Crew. Killer YT being the man, getting the knockdown again on the player who was just rest in, and now a lot of responsibilities are on Sketchy's shoulders.
Wow, this is just perfect. Look at Killer YT, dude. This guy has not taken a single bullet hit. He's on level 1 helmet, level 1 vest, but the way he pushed onto that compound, it took those two lads from God's Reborn that swiftly and that easily. Was just perfect play coming in from Killer YT on the other side. Of course, God's Reborn still have their players alive on the back end, but eventually it turned into an aggressive start from both these teams as they both lost one player each, resulting in a 3v3 situation. But now it has now gotten down towards the side of PN Crew having a better positioning, because they still have more players alive, and God's Reborn has only one lad, and he again, only one man surviving in the first 3 minutes of the game. Not the kind of result that you wanted to see. But on the other side of the map, we are looking at APES and 7C once again getting into an early skirmish.
Once again into an early skirmish as APES opening things up again. And the same teams colliding against each other, 7C and APES. It's just like the previous matches. It feels like I'm in a deja vu right now. But APES already finding themselves opening just like they did in the previous game as well. All they want to do is maybe look at this, what he's trying to do. This is pretty funny. He was actually trying to jump spot the guy out and maybe take a little shots here and there. Did manage to land a little bit of shots, but again, they repositioned themselves, got the res in, and now Memo is back on his feet.
Absolutely, and with that, it is 7C Esports who seem to have a better control of this fight, as they've got all 4 members alive for the moment. 8, we only have 2 members alive. That's going to be Hustler and Sancher, and not for long from the looks of it, because Sancher has been knocked and will be brought down to his knees. But will it be converted into a point? It seems like 7C's true love right here knows exactly where Hustler seems to be moving on downwards, and he's not wanting to let him go. He is wanting to convert all those kills into points, and eventually will not let even a single lad walk away from his crosshairs. With that, 7C comfortably taking a fight in the region of Pachinki, and early fight which has resulted in them walking away with 4 points.
Exactly. In the previous one, it was APES getting the win in the fight, and now this time 7C, a flawless wipeout. Incredible. Plus Memo as well is still back on his feet. All 4 players alive. PN Crew in this fight though didn't manage to wipe out their enemy team, but they did have a casualty on their name, and it's going to be Legend falling apart. Unfortunate stuff, but take a look at the zone, and it seems like it's favoring the last from Zeus and TRZ as well. Some teams are inside the circle, and they are looking good.
Absolutely. For the moment, we are looking at a northern circle that is certainly going to be comfortable for so many of these teams, but it is still pretty early to, start expecting that the circle is going to be going down towards the northern side itself. It could very well take a shift, and that might result in Zeus having to make a rotation. But for the moment, as though you mentioned, Zeus is going to be looking pretty comfortable. Talk about P and crew. They have all those points working, all 4 points working in their favor, as they were able to get into that early fight. And in doing so, this team is now slowly and steadily going to get that perfect loot and move in towards the center. But talk about Zeus and INES, that was so close to each other. Seems like finally Zeus seems to be ready to get into the fight. As we just saw in the kill feed, Zeus were able to knock down one player from INES, but we still don't know what exactly is going on down towards the side of Georgia Pole. Would love to see, observers, if you could take us down towards that side of the map. On the other tangent, if we talk about Milta Power, that is where it seems like we've got Venom as well as the PES right there that might get into a fight as they make that rotation.
Exactly. And I don't really know if the observers are going to be listening. Okay, well, here we go. The observer gods finally heard us, and here we have the action going on between these two massive teams. Zeus going head-to-head against the players of INES, and I'm pretty sure INES has smelled Zeus out, and maybe they are in the fear of Zeus as well. Take a look at how passive approach INES is taking inside this entire fight. All the players are inside those barn houses, and Gajor is the only man who's kind of separated out from that rest of the squad. New T trying to make a good angle on the top lines, more kind of like trying to scout out the area, trying to spot any player from Zeus. But Zeus is already well aware. They have some eagle eyes on their team, and they've already spotted New T out making that rotation on top of the ramps.
Absolutely, mate. And again, I'm loving the perfect placement coming in from the side of Zeol, who is right next to, look at him place himself right next to INES, and he's the one who, well, has been caught. He has certainly been caught. New T, he knows what he's doing with that perfect positioning up top. He is going to be making that crane count in his favor, and he's certainly going to be bringing those few leads in towards Zeol's side. Zeol is going to be walking out of that situation, going to be healing himself up, and from the looks of it, the entirety of Zeus Esports does not want to get into this fight this early, as the team members certainly are on the other side of the road and seem to be climbing that hill. INES, as of now, are looking pretty comfortable, but did I say it too quick? Seems like I did, because Zeus, you know, they do not back out of a fight, and that was just absolute gibberish that came out of my mouth, because Zeus will not allow any single member of an opponent team to walk away from their crosshairs.
It doesn't matter what it is, they will take you down either with positioning or either with pure mechanical aim, and Zeus is just perfect in those both states. As finally we see an aggression being happening from the side of Zeus. IC did realize he got the knockdown that he was looking for, New T. And now he wants to confirm the kill because he smells the down blood. New T bleeding out. He smells the blood. And it seems like IC wants to confirm the kills. Y'all as well kind of closing in on the right lines. And it seems like Zeus have absolutely pinned the entire squad of INES down from all the angles. Now, IC does realize there might be a res happening in the middle of containers. And he has probably conveyed the information to his teammates.
Absolutely, but again, I mean, you talk about Zeus's approach, very tactical approach coming in. Zeol was on the left-hand side off for a flank from INES. As soon as he was caught off guard from New T, he asked IC to go on to the other opposite side of that flank, and IC was the one who was able to bring down New T, but now in doing so, IC tried to make a push, an aggressive one, an aggressive stance. Indeed, that seems to have resulted in him not being, ooh, was that a utility I had been asking for again and again? Was that a utility? Yes, it is indeed, sir. And doing so might have resulted in Zeol walking away with those two kills. But thankfully, INES did have one more player in the backland helping his players out.
INES down to 2 players now. Gajor and Stalwart still outside the compound, and they're not able to take down Zeol that easily. A single man holding it off pretty well, but that nade is going to be doing it. But another nade coming in from the side of Zeus, dealing quite a lot of damage to the players of INES. Gajor is down to just 1 HP. Y'all have gone down as well. The res will be there though, without any trouble. I see close quite a lot near the boxes, and has spotted Gajor out as well, pre-firing the angle. And it doesn't seem like Gajor is going to be peeking right inside it anytime soon.
Well, right now it seems like both these teams have themselves only this warehouse separating them. We've got INES down to only one man surviving, the other man has been knocked out, thus resulting in Zeus's aggression, perfect domination, and it it is going to be 4 points to Zeus from the looks of it. There's no two ways that we're going to be able to see INES walk out of that situation. But, what do you know? INES was able to get 1 point out of that fight, and Zeol is the one from Zeus's team that's been sent back into the lobby, thus resulting in, well, 3-man army strong. It is going to be Zeus for the moment.
As people say, the history repeats itself, and finally we see that happening again. Here comes another fight between the players of Venom Legends. Found themselves in quite a tricky spot. DRS, again, a massive team going head-to-head against them. And it seems like Venom Legends are getting pinned down from the back lines as well. Mafia Ninja has quite an interesting position, separated out from the rest of the pack, and that's going to be costing his team their life.
Uh-oh, this is not looking good. DRS Nima will be brought down. DRS will probably be resulting in the only one player. That's going to be Mafia Ninja for the moment. But will he be able to help his team members out? Because after all, when you talk about Venom, well, Venom have been able to revive 2 of their lads. And now as Mafia Ninja tries to get into this fight all by himself, this could be a tricky situation that could spiral downhill real soon, real quick, because he's all alone. And Venom seem to have been able to get, well, 3 members certainly have been revived. 4th one onto the left, and Steel Shot is going to be revived any moment now from Frypan, and this is where Venom could be bringing in a lot of rivalry for the side of DRS.
Pretty much a nade battle up till now, barraging the nades on their side. Mafia Ninja, it doesn't seem like any nades are going to be dealing any critical damage onto the enemy lines. Finally seems like he has realized the heat of the situation and decided to back out. He does know the entire squad is now back on their feet, and challenging a 1-on-3 is not really a good idea, unless if you're a team, if you're a player like any player from the side of Zeus, then maybe it does make sense. But for now, you should be backing out, trying to play it as safe as possible. Take a look at the new circle shift as well, out in the open in no man's land.
Well, seems like we've got High Voltage, who is going to be getting themselves in towards the center line of that circle. And talk about DRS Mafia Ninja's luck. He is all alone on towards this side of the map, and this could be his moment to get himself in a really good position and just snail pace his way through the rest of the game. After all, we still have 13 teams remaining. It is still too early to predict what could go down in towards those final few moments of the game. But right now, as we talk about those rotations, so many of these teams are going to have to make that rotation to get themselves into the comfort of that circle. And Zeus, they were right next to that circle. They seem to have moved on south of that circle, but now are going to have to, well, push on along again towards the northern side. And as they do so, a 3-man strong army Zeus, will there be other team that will retaliate their rotation? Will be a question that shall be answered in a few moments. But talk about the airdrop. We've got the AWM set up right here. Once again, I mean, it's on towards the southern side. It's R3D coming in from Rozok. If they wanted, they could very well take that drop. But apart from that, I don't think nobody's going to be interested. But that, again, was only the first drop. So never mind that. It's not the drop that we just noticed. It's the Ruins drop that we just noticed. There is another drop towards Rozok. But once again, no team is going to be walking towards that side.
Futurestation in the game, looking good. Another airdrop on the board. It's going to be the Groza. But we are seeing some unfortunate deaths happening by the play zone. And it seems like Shaw went down to the play zone from the team of R3D. The unfortunate turn of events for this team is always on the line, and always this team somehow manages to either get wiped out in the start, or either at least get a casualty on their name in the start. And such kind of things aren't going to be helping your team to win the game, and they need to realize the heat of the situation. QWERTY going head-to-head against the players of TRZ. This fight did happen in the previous game as well, and it seems like, again, they have collided against each other, and Destroyer has found himself the opening that he was looking for. Vortrix's nade this time, though, is not going to be missing its mark, and finally finding its mark and taking the player down.
Well, this is something that's really good, because again, Zaydan, Destroyer, Voltrix, all of these lads, they're really, really strong when they bring up that synergy level within that team, and that is what they're doing. Along with which, earlier we've seen them play with the 3-man squad. This time around, they're joining in with the 4-man army, and that's going to be helping them, along with, of course, the jailing of Khan, perhaps. That could result in this team walking out of this situation with a lot of points. But But for now, it is Destroyer who seems to have been knocked, thus resulting in a 3v3 situation. And on the backside, we see another team that might just be chiming along, bringing in a third party altogether.
That's for sure. The Res will be there on Destroyer without any trouble. A lot of teams trying to stack in the center of the circle. It does make sense, but Zeus, it seems like they're going to be pretty unstoppable still inside the game. And they are racking themselves up kills slowly and steadily. But we are seeing quite a different Zeus inside the scrims. Kind of a passive Zeus. Maybe they just don't want to give their strategies away. Maybe they just want to play it out as safe as possible. They do know in the future as well, in the future events, some of the big events are happening. And they just want to test some new strategies out. Maybe that's what's going on with Zeus. But for now,
right. Yep.
For now, Astra Academy, again, under fire. Action moved out quite in open, and again, he did get punished for it.
But boy, again, I mean, this is what I'm liking, right? We've got TRZ right there, who were at the receiving end from the side of Team QWERTY, but now Astra has chimed in as a third party. It was certainly Action Plus who was, well, what can you say? I mean, it's just all alone pushing along towards the line of Team QWERTY is certainly going to be resulting in you getting some damage, and that has resulted in him being knocked. But still, Astra Academy are looking pretty strong because they've got the information for both these teams and they might be able to get these knocks for themselves. Though it seems like 7C might be chiming in along towards this fight as well. This is turning into a 3-team situation. No, I correct myself. There are 4 teams in this area wanting to chime on along into those point battle and get those fights working in their favor. But how exactly is this going to pan out? Because the circle is certainly pushing along all these teams towards the center.
Circle is pushing them along. And now 7C as well, spotting some teams out here and there. They are pretty much surrounded by a lot of teams. There's one more team in the right lines. Of course, Astra Academy is the team. Venom Legends as well in a fight. So many fights breaking down as the circle is shrinking as well. A lot of teams are still alive. 12 teams in such a small circle. Hell is about to break loose as High Voltage found themselves and a squad wipe on the players of Venom Legends, and that's going to be helping them out quite a lot on the leaderboards.
Absolutely. 2 players certainly did take a knock from the side of High Voltage, but all 4 members can certainly be moving on along if they get that revival on time. When it comes to the time itself, it is the circle that is not going to allow them to do so, but we shall see. We shall find out what that result is going to be. But R3D making that rotation, finally trying to get into the circle, but will they be allowed to do so? This is Futurestation that we're looking at right here, and this is where, well, they've got themselves set up in the shelter area for now. They are certainly in the circle, but how exactly are they going to be taking that fight? Because they need to move out of there to be able to get on alongside the side of P and Crew that is up top of that shelter region for the moment. And the QWERTY that we see who's in the crosshairs of High Voltage. High Voltage once again have been able to get their revival done and are slowly going to be, well, basically gatekeeping this side of this circle because this is theirs. That is what High Voltage wants to tell PN Crews, Ayush and the other lad, and QWERTY and Ayush. They're going to have to find a different area to get themselves into the circle.
That's going to be happening. And now again, PN Crew seems like quite a desperate rotation from these lads. Do realize the heat of the situation. Do realize the next circle is going to be counting upon them, as the next circle going to be favoring the lads from Vibes. That's the only team that is inside the circle, including PN Crew. But QWERTY kind of taking shots here and there, and he does realize there's a team right into his front lines, but he needs to be as passive as possible, or maybe as safe as possible. Of course, Portal Esports is the team, and we do know they have some incredible players in their lineup as well.
Absolutely, mate. That is so very true. But again, they are in the open as well. And that is something that Portal Esports are going to have to be really careful of as they make that rotation. Because right now we can see that they're on northern side of that shooting range. And that is going to be a difficult position for them to be able to get away from. But right here, as we bring ourselves down towards these teams that were trying to get into a fight for quite some time, it is, of course, Astra and Team QWERTY that we're talking about, alongside which I am loving the fact that these players certainly do listen to us and our cast as well, right? Because I'm loving that so many of these teams are now finally using that flashbang approach when it comes down to these fights, and that does help these, in terms of the utilities, that certainly does help in your pushes very, beautifully. Right here we see Astra Academy's QWERTY bringing in some real good nade parades towards the side of QWERTY, and QWERTY already added 2 knock. Going to be able to convert that kill. Not for now is the answer, but defeat. When it comes to the defeat, when it comes to the kills, Astra, they are looking pretty comfortable. They've got 2 kills, and moving on along, they might just be able to get this one as well, because they're looking pretty comfortable and pretty strong as they make this push. And it is only Khan, the IGL of the team, but not for long, mate. Not for long. Team QWERTY has been sent back into the lobby thanks to Astra, who are now 5 defeat strong.
They're now 5 defeat strong, as you did mention. And now Astra, they have already gotten themselves those 5 kill points, and they're looking pretty strong, as you did mention. Right now their confidence must be boosted up to Cloud 9. What exactly happened to Zeus? Zeus is kind of missing in these final teams though, which is quite unfortunate stuff. And I was expecting Zeus to actually dominate their first game, but it seems like maybe some unfortunate events happened where they got caught off guard. And now it seems like Joker spotted out the player from Portal Esports. Momtu, of course, the man that has been spotted out. Shots being riddled here and there, but it doesn't seem like any of them will be connecting. Those are just some blind fire shots coming in from their side, as Astra Academy's already found themselves the opening up that they were looking for on the players of Portal Esports. Hell is breaking news on the players of Portal Esports, as Astra Academy is making that push relentlessly. It doesn't matter what they have to go through, they will be making that push. But R3D and PN Crew are still making their ways a little too difficult. Momtu outside the zone, taking a little bit of damage. Finally, he has made it inside as well, and he wants to keep that flank angle secured. He wants to keep his position anonymous.
Most certainly does, because he's the only man surviving for the side of Portal Esports. And Momtu, we know when it comes to his caliber, he knows when it's time to take aggressive fights and when it's time to, you know, just sit back and take a snail's pace approach. And that's exactly what he's doing. But move up that conversation towards vibe. This team is looking comfortable because they are in the zone, and they also have the cover of that compound working in their favor. They are slowly and steadily getting some information. But right here, talk about King of the Hill. King of the Hill is Astra Academy. They are not backing down from those kills whatsoever at all, because just a few minutes ago we saw them bring down Team QWERTY. That's where the entire awesomeness started from the side of Astra, and now they are 8 defeats strong once again. I mean, beautiful turnover wins when it comes to the King of Hill situation, but not for long, mate, because they are going to have to make that rotation from this position, but not before they get a few more kills. Wow.
Sky a little too impatient, wanted to confirm that kill instantly, and that greed is going to be costing his life. He was taken down and instantly finished as well. The kill will be finished from the side of Astra. The last man has been spotted out, but it seems like the last man from TRZ, that's going to be Mamba, is holding off pretty well, but action from the backlines is going to be making it happen, going to be taking the last man fall down. But Zeus, as I said, is kind of missing from my peripheral vision. Finally, seems like my eyes have spotted Zeus out, and finally I feel a little better after seeing the squad of Zeus still alive and cooking inside the game. Ably and IC are still alive, and we have seen in the PMPL as well, this duo can make a lot of impossible things go possible.
Exactly, mate. We've not been seeing them, but they certainly have been alive and kicking and doing well, because they've got 11 defeats as of now as they push alongside the side of course, Astra right here. And with that nade coming in from IC,
wow,
that is just perfect nade, resulting in them walking away with 13 kills, 2 more kills added on, 2 more defeats added on. Thus, now we've got top 3 teams. Vibe still holding on to that compound really fairly and strongly. PN Crew's players are there, along with Zeus Esports rushing along. And this is where we are resulted with 7 players alive, dude.
7 players alive, 3 teams and still in the game. Whites are looking pretty good, but they need to make the rotation. And yes, Killer is not going to be missing a single bullet. Going to be finding himself the opening that he was looking for. He does know there's one team in the back lines. Zeus is included right in there. IC and Ably is still alive and good looking, and he needs to realize the heat of the situation. Wipes is right behind him. Zeus is right in the front lines on the higher ground. Now Killer YT is actually sandwiched right behind this little stone or little rock. For how long is he going to be able to hold it off, though? That's going to be the massive question, because Vibes is now a 3-man squad. Zeus is now a 2-man squad, and the odds are pretty even.
Well, I'm liking the way Ably is approaching the situation with that new gun working in his favor. He seems to be really comfortable with that and bringing and knocking down players that were looking pretty comfortable with the compound in their favor. But eventually, it seems like the circle is going to be pushing on alongside the side of Zeus and PN Crew for the moment. Now, PN Crew's Killer YT is holding his horse and holding his stud very, very carefully because he's the only man surviving from the side of this team. But Zeus and Icy, they are just rotating and taking kills wherever they possibly can. They still do not have the information from Killer YT as to where exactly he is, but they do know that there's one player there because Killer YT did, I believe, throw a nade towards the side of Zeus Esports, and that has resulted in Zeus walking away from that point of that hill. And well, now this is going to be troublesome. This is going to be real trouble. But PN Crew's Killer YT is like, no, mate, I'm going to be the only man surviving. But if I see an opportunity, I'm going to be taking those kills. I am going to be converting those into knocks and points. And that is what he's doing for his team all by himself.
All by himself, as you did mention. Now Killer YT trying to stay alive for as long. And yes, he's going to be spotting one player out from Wipes. A little mistake is going to be enough. Does hear Apley from the back line, making a move on to him. Apley not really spotting him out quite a lot, but Killer YT took a lot of damage in that fight. Apley was able to dish out so much damage onto him. The zone is closing in as well, and this might be so crucial for Killer YT to make a move right inside the zone. This is where he realized that he steps up, and now he's getting spotted out by the players of Wipes, and Malik is going to be putting the final nail in the coffin. The final man has finally fallen down, as Zeus Abley has spotted out Malik as well. Malik took a little bit of damage trying to make it back to his teammate and trying to get the res, and same goes with Zeus.
Absolutely, that resulting in two teams surviving. We've got 2v2 situation right here. Abley has been revived from Icy, and Icy again going back into his flank approach from the position that he's at, or the posture that he's at. He certainly seems like he just threw a nade, did he? Let's find out, along with which it seems like Malik is wanting to take an initial aggressive stance towards the side of this team, but will he be able to do so? Because Abley and Icy are going to be knocking down whatever moves, and they are jumping to get the information. There they do. A perfect duo, as you were mentioning, Necro.
Yeah.
Walking away with, what, 15 kills, mate?
That's just a massive number. Look at Icy, though. So strong like a mountain, getting himself that 11 kills on the board. I feel like that's one of the most kills that I've witnessed since a long time as far as solo player goes in. But Vibes not really far away on the second position with only 4 kills in total. And PN Crew as well with only 6 kills. And so goes on the second page as well. Portal Esports, I had a little bit of hopes going in this time, including Stalwart Flex as well, but weren't really able to show up.
That is true, mate. But I mean, talk about vibe. You know, the first game, they were there with 14 kills. The second game, they are here with those 4 kills. They are racking up those points in their favor. No matter what team they go against, this is working real good in this team's favor. And that's going to be really, really awesome for the side, because that is going to boost their morale as they walk on along. But now, as we walk in towards the final game, right now we just saw Group B and C, where indeed it was a few of those teams that we would have loved to have been able to bring up a bit more of an aggressive stance. Like, for example, DRS, right? DRS Gaming, we were not able to see them in there. This is a group that is group number C, I believe. So we are going to be seeing this team once again. But it is a close game coming in from so many of these teams. And especially now that you've got Mongolian teams chiming in, you know that so big, huge chunk of that kill department is going down towards these teams. And the points as well are going down towards those teams, which is sad, but that's just the way it is.
Exactly. That's just the way it is. And now Zeus, we did mention, you know, just the high school bullies strike again, proving their grounds, and well, it seems like they're pretty much unstoppable, and no matter what happens. And well, Zeus is just Zeus. I don't know what else to elaborate more on this, because I feel like we have given them enough appreciation in PMPL as well that I ran out of words now what to say and what to not. But let's focus on other teams. You know, Wives pretty consistent, 2 games on second place, but the third game we're not going to be able to see them. So that's a sad story right there.
Absolutely. Another few moments to talk about is certainly going to be, you know, that 4 teams that were stacked up towards that resulted in Astra being the king of the hill situation, right? We saw Team QWERTY bring in some really good positioning for themselves. They were in those trenches, trying to get that fight working in their favor. But again, I mean, that is the situation that resulted in not in their favor, sadly, because it was Astra who had the better luck, who were in control of that wonderful opportunity. With boy, oh boy, there were just so many skirmishes taking place throughout this game. But eventually, a wonderful turn of offense from the side of course, UC Sports. I mean, basically, you're looking at these wildcard teams, the X Factor teams. You're talking about UC Sports with 16 kills, Astra Academy with 10 kills. What more can you say about them?
Not really far away though. Astra Academy on the second place. Not really far away. PN Crew as well. I mean, PN Crew is just so consistent. No matter what kind of competition it is, they will always be there on the top charts without a doubt. Vibes. This time though, the new roster is proving out pretty good for this esports team. But TRZ Pryde. Well, I feel like TRZ over here is the old ERZ TRZ that was playing in the PMPL. And now they have changed their name to TRZ. Of course, a team from Bangladesh. They have been doing good, and now as well they are pretty good. Team QWERTY, as you did mention, did manage to get one kill though in that fight they engaged against the enemy lines, but weren't really able to do that good.
Nope, not at all, mate. And talk about teams like, of course, DRS Gaming, Futurestation, Reborn. Well, they were in that early skirmish against 7C Esports itself. I believe that was again an interesting turn of events, but move that conversation towards so many of these teams that are on the second half of the leaderboard. They still have the opportunity, because again, as we move into this third game, we are going to be looking at Group C going against Group A, where once again we can very well expect teams like DRS and all to pick up their pace a bit more.
That's for sure. We might expect those teams to actually show themselves up on the overall leaderboards as well, maybe at least in the top 8. But we have Vibes on the first position. Zeus in one game already got themselves the second position. Deadeyes with one game as well already got themselves the third position. PN Crew and Astra Academy, these are the top 5 teams after game 2. And a lot of things have been changed on the top 5 side here. Style of Flex though, which team I like a lot. It seems like this time they are on the latter half, but we still have a lot of games in the future as well, so we cannot be judging them right now.
Absolutely, mate. I mean, Stalwart Flex certainly right now is going to be walking away with just those 10 points that they got based on the placement that they were able to get in the first game. But now they will be back in action as we get into this final game. And that's what is going to make things stand out for this team and for the entirety of the lobby, as well as to what you expect from Stalwart Flex. Move that conversation, of course, towards the side of Steel Esports as well. Till now, they are looking at 8 points. And that is where the story is certainly going to change, hopefully, as we move in along. But overall, this is where we've got teams that have played 2 matches. Well, basically day number 1 is done for them, but move on towards the teams that still have only 1 game that they've played. They will have an opportunity, one more opportunity on day number 1 of season 2 of these pro scrims to showcase and prove their mettle to the entire lobby that, you know what, we're going to be here to bring everybody down, mate, hopefully.
Yeah. Without a doubt. Let's take a look at the top players. Icy, of course, with 11 kills. Without a doubt, he will be there on the top player. But Action nowhere far behind with 6 kills on his name. Killer YT with 5 kills. Of course, the last man who was surviving for PN Crew till a long time. And then Vibes Prabeen with 3 kills on his name. I mean, it seems like Vibes, again, they've gone themselves on the top players as well, on the top leaderboards as well. But with 2 games in their hands, they have gone themselves the first place. I'm pretty sure after this second game where Zeus is going to be dominating again, Vibes will be off the first place.
True, that could be the case, mate. That certainly could be the case, because after all, I mean, Vibe did bring in a consistent play for themselves. But let's see how the other teams are going to be faring up when it comes to this final game. That's going to be Group A going against Group C. With that, you lads stick around. We're going to be right back with game number 3.
PUBG Mobile, Godzilla vs. Kong, all new collaboration, live now. In the latest version of PUBG Mobile, players may encounter titans during a match, just like in the movies. Let's learn more about the all-new game modes, shall we? Titan Strikes. The Titan Strikes mode introduces 3 titans to Erangel, Sandhook, and Livid. Godzilla and Kong move along designated routes across the map. Players can chase after them in vehicles, but if you get too close, you'll be knocked down and take damage. When Titans get ready to unleash a heat ray, the system will prompt players to leave the red zone marked on the minimap. Players equipped with high-level armor receive reduced damage from the heat ray. Titans will absorb energy which emanates gradually from the earth. Once the energy reaches a certain threshold, Titans release it and create Titan crystals around them. Different types of Titan crystals provide different effects. Erangel's blue Titan crystals are special throwable items that players can equip. They knock back and burn enemies who are behind cover. Sandhook's gold Titan crystals enhance players' abilities, making you run faster and jump higher. Livik's red Titan crystals give players the ability to detect enemies nearby for a brief period of time. These enhancement items give players an edge in battle. Use them and bring the chicken dinner home. With the help of Titan crystals, players have even more unique tactics to achieve victory. Godzilla and Kong roam Erangel and Sandhook respectively, and players may bump into them on Spawn Island. Players can preview the Titan's route on the minimap, along with Apex Cybernetics, and low, mid, and high-level monster settlements. Apex Cybernetics are scattered along the Titan's route, which contains many valuable supplies. However, players can only enter the facility after a Titan has destroyed the base. Players that arrive early will not be able to get into the highly fortified Apex camp. At the same time, defeating different monster settlements rewards good supplies. Monster settlements are mainly occupied by lizards and crabs. Players can use a diversion to divide and conquer. The monsters are big, so using a shotgun at close range can deal huge damage. Players must also be wary of the Titan's attacks. Although they're not hostile towards players, they get irritated when there's too many players around. The Titan on Livik has unique electromagnetic abilities that affect the blue zone and cause it to shift every once in a while. Now, players must pay constant attention to the new play zones and transfer immediately when they begin to shrink, as to ensure they're not swallowed by the blue zone. Furthermore, Mechagodzilla periodically scans an area of the safe zone and marks the locations of everyone in the area on the minimap. This urges players to transfer or engage their enemies. Players must be extra careful. The Titan Strikes game mode is based on Battle Royale. Players must strive to be the last one standing amidst battling other players and Titans. With the addition of Titans, players are ready to witness their majesty and get their hands on the mysterious Titan crystals. Enjoy the all-new Titan Strikes and experience the
Hello and welcome to PUBG Mobile South Asia Pro Scrims is where we are at Season 2 by Nordwind Gaming. Day number 1 off to a wonderful start till now. We've got, of course, 4 teams that have added on along with the X Factor that me and Necro have been talking about in just the second game. Necro, we were just showcased what that X Factor is when you're talking about teams like Zeus Esports bringing in 16 kills, Astra Academy playing their first game against the entirety of the lobby, walking away with 10 kills. What is going to stop them is every single time when you look at their gameplay is the question.
Well, I mean, Astra, first game did pretty decent. Let's be honest, did pretty decent in the first game as well. Zeus, first game, expected performance without a doubt.
Yep.
We did expect Zeus to win that game. They did win that game without any doubt. But now, as you did mention, in the third game,
No, hold on. Talking about that doubt matter, right? There was a little bit of a doubt that you did bring in. That,
I was
down.
like, wait, why don't I see Zeus anywhere? Is Zeus down? I was like, did Zeus get eliminated?
As soon as he brought it on, it was, of course, all-out war coming in from Zeus' side. But let's see, as we move on along, once again, with an observer who seems to be just interested and trained to kill. Let's find out what are we to expect from this final game of day number 1 in Season 2 Pro Scrims.
Well, to be honest, I'm quite, surprised from the side of TDK because we haven't seen a chicken dinner coming out from this squad yet. And I want to see TDK, with the chicken dinner because they don't really look good on the second half of the boards. Certainly a team like TDK, I want to see them on the top side. But Venom Legends, and as you did mention now, some of the Nepali teams are back, including DRS. Now the competition maybe will be there for the side of Zeus. Let's just see.
Let's find out, of course. With that, when you talk about the flight path, it seems to have taken a completely different shift and now seems to be going down from Nova Repnoy towards the side of Severny. That has resulted in interesting. Wow. We're looking at Astra, choosing to go down towards Novorupnoi. Interesting turn of events. We've got Venom once again going to be sticking to that Milta power spread out, fanned out approach for themselves, and TUF going towards Lipovka for the moment. When you talk about Zeus, this is going to be their second home, the second base that they go towards, and they know it is a comfortable drop for them. But talking about early skirmishes, don't exactly know what to expect from this, because there are so many of these teams that are not necessarily too close to each other, but they are in the vicinity. So when they were dropping, they certainly would have seen a lot of parachutes around them. Now the only conversation is going to be who is going to be bringing in that early Rambo approach to the game.
Rambo approach, as you like to call it. And I do like to see
Whoa.
such kind of approaches as well. Bad Blood Legion this time aren't really lucky, though. Deadeyes already found the opening they were looking for. Leo is in a massive trouble. His cap's kind of sticking out the window. It's kind of sticking out the wall. And it seems like Hungrybox is still on his search. Did realize, does hear him crawling around, and Leo finally will be taken down without any trouble. Deadeyes looking pretty good inside this entire fight. Seoxer is kind of on that aggressive approach, as Hungrybox seems like will be taking the flank approach inside the fight. Blood Legion not quite aware of the position of Hungrybox, but they will need to watch out their surroundings.
See, now this is where you talk about scrims, the word itself. What we are seeing from Deadeyes Guys is so many of the lads, they just wanted to get one gun and push long. We see right here on top who's got, well, again, he's walking away with a Vector. On the other side, we saw the other lad, Hungrybox, who was moving on around with a PP, and the Bison. And again, I mean, they are not really even looking forward to, getting those utilities for themselves, getting the helmets or whatever. It is just get in there, get those knocks. On the other side, when you talk about, of course, XP Blood Legion, we saw them wanting to get a lot of that utility secured first things foremost, and that resulted in completely two different fanned out approaches coming in from these two incredible teams into the lobby in the first few minutes of the game.
The game, Jane though finally spotting out a player, taking down RX Jax, Avon Esports. Again, not really having the time of their life. Jane wants to confirm the kill, but certainly not going to be easy because he already has a cover on his name. RX Jax, well, things sometimes just don't go your way, mate, and you need to maybe try and adjust and maybe not just ram your vehicle straight inside a compound. That would help you out quite a lot sometimes. But TDK, the rest of the squad is there to provide himself the backup, to provide him the backup, that one teammate that was left out. But finally, it seems like APES Esports isn't there any near or any close. So they will be finishing the kill, maybe looting quite peacefully, as the rest of the squad from APES Esports just watches in from the long side.
Exactly, mate. And again, I mean, I did not really notice when it came down to this kill that was it based on T2K Jane not being happy that his car was being stolen, or was it A1 Esports lad who actually did bring that car into the compound, wanting to maybe, get some utilities and whatnot. I completely missed that. So I was looking at it based on the approach that T2K Jane parked that car out there and was really unhappy that it was being stolen by another lad, which of course nobody would want. And so T2K Jane was like, hey, it's my car, you better stop that, and was able to retaliate and of course bring that kill for his team.
Well, I mean, stealing something is definitely not a good thing, and Jane kind of punished him out. RX Jax, well, not really having the time of his life, as Zeus kind of using that third-person perspective in their favor, but it doesn't seem like any of them will be spotted out from Zeus's side. As I was talking about TDK, and finally seems like in this game they're causing some early havoc.
Well, they certainly are pretty close to the position of Zeus Esports from the looks of it. They are on towards the farm side, whereas Zeus Esports is pretty fanned out for the moment, but we've got them going all the way from Milta down towards Shelter as well, and that is where Zeus is spread out. Now, this is where we move on down towards A1 Esports, who is, as of now, looking, decent, I would say, again, because they just lost one lad from their team, so that brings them down to a 3-man squad. Oh no, Zeus Esports, we were just talking about it. They were moving alongside the entirety of that region from Shelter to Farm to Milta, and here we go. That information has worked in their favor. IC is the one bringing in that early kill, resulting in Portal Esports with only 3-man army for the moment. So this also brings up another point that, you as a team, either choose to be all together as a team, or you play that YOLO approach that we see coming in from the likes of Zeus Esports that love to play that aggressive stance approach where every person for themselves.
Every person for themselves. I mean, again, all things just come down to end of the day to your IGL, what kind of calls you make. That's how the rest of the players will be working upon it. But now it seems like Russian is getting caught off guard in the open grounds, and yes, he will be taken down without any trouble. Portal Esports kind of on the struggling phases here. Zeus is the team that they're going head to head against. And if you're gonna be going to get up against Zeus, of course your team might be struggling. So maybe you will have to take the passive approach and maybe a safer approach inside the entire game. Leo smells the blood and now seems like he wants to go back to the rest of his teammates, and that's what he's going to be doing, driving right next to the rest of the players of the team.
Exactly, and right here we see Zeus Esports getting into the Milta region itself as they get themselves prepped for that more loot and utility for themselves. Again, I mean, when you talk about Zeus Esports, what we're noticing is they try and create somewhat of a radius around them, around the entirety of the team. Whoever steps into that radius will be knocked, will be sent back into the lobby, and that is just what they do. No matter how fanned out an approach does Zeus bring to themselves, every single time we see this team step into a fight, all 4 members of the team tactically approach the positioning, and that is where they do convert the fight into their favor. Now, right here, of course, we were just talking about QWERTY Esports being on the receiving end from the side of Zeus Esports. It is Nocto and Roshan who've been sent back into the lobby. As far as the QWERTY Esports left out squad is concerned, they seem to have entered an area that, well, is pretty comfortable for them because there's no team around them. But talk about bridge camp.
Well, TDK is always pretty much top on that. They always just like to camp the left side of the bridge. And now it seems like they're doing the same thing again. But kind of the play that Russian made right there, I mean, he did realize he was going head-to-head against Zeus. And maybe I feel like he should have hidden behind the tree that was right in front of him. Maybe utilize some utilities like smokes and maybe create a temporary cover, at least to retreat back to houses. But that was kind of a questionable move from his side, you know? Maybe he was just scared that Zeus was right in the front lines and he needs to get back to his teammate.
Absolutely, mate. And right here on towards the shelter region, I think is what we're looking at. We've got the first drop coming in, and with that, QWERTY Esports are going to be rushing in towards the center of the circle, is it? But talking about teams that are not in the circle yet, we're looking at Seal Esports jumping in towards the circle. They are going to have to keep in their cars and keep rushing along towards the side of school. Maybe they could enter from on the other tangent. We're looking at shooting range towards the north. There is Futurestation's entire team that is also making a very late rotation into the circle. All the other teams seem to be pretty comfortable in the circle as of now. And talking about Astra, now last game we saw this team walk away with 10 kills. They've got themselves looking pretty comfortable on that second position for the moment. Let's see how good are they going to be when it comes down to this entire game. Now, correction right there. Second position was only the match ranking. Overall, we still of course have Zeus Esports that was on second.
Still have Zeus now. I mean, Zeus again, they are pretty much dominating the entire field up till now. And I really feel like after this game, they might just move on the top side on the #1 on the overall leaderboards. And I will definitely not be surprised. It's not going to be a surprising reaction. Because, I mean, this is what we expect from a squad like Zeus to dominate. As I did mention, the high school bullies. And now, TDK over here did get kind of tired of camping the bridge out this time, so maybe they're trying out some new strategies. Found themselves quite a good cover in maybe at least in the center of the circle. So up till now, looking quite decent on the southern side. But there's another team in their right lines and their left lines, and so they need to watch out if they're not getting sandwiched. Because that's the main thing. If you're gonna get sandwiched, if you're the center of attraction, then a lot of things can go south.
Absolutely, mate, and that's going to be real troublesome from the side of T2K. But right here, what we see is T2K's lads, you know, setting up their garage, simply put, with all different cars set up in there, and they are just going to keep it comfortable and maybe even flaunt a little amongst the teammates itself. But move that conversation towards Stalwart Flex, a team that certainly needs to be flaunting a lot more of aggression into the lobby, but sadly are not being able to do so. Right here, we see Uzum, who is trying to bring up a few fights in his favor, has been knocked for the moment.
Unfortunate stuff for him as well. Style Flex are kind of on a struggling phase this long time. Joden still alive. Still not alive, actually. He has been taken down. And now Sinister as well, kind of following the fray up. Crypto, of course, a man who's a laser beam, and I personally feel like he's one of the best players that Pakistan region has to offer. He did beam that one man out. Dante, his flank angle has finally been spotted, but he's also got himself the knockdown that he was looking for. Dante taking quite a lot of damage from the side of Crypto. He needs to watch out. Crypto probably needs to make it back to safety, or at least to a cover. So maybe he's not out in the open and should not be giving Dante an easy kill. Dante spots out Crypto. His position has been given away. Crypto needs to play this out as safe and as fast as possible. He needs to be quick on his feet.
Well, boy, oh boy, this has turned into a situation that could go in favor on A1 Esports, because after all, Crypto is the only one surviving. On the other side, you talk about A1 Esports' lads. They have all three members pushing on alongside the position of Crypto, the last known position of Crypto, and Dante right here has the information as well, and is going to be retaliating, and we're going to be probably bringing down Crypto in a few minutes' time, because again, Crypto's shots, he is in the at the receiving end, mate. He is at the down low. He's at the down low when it comes down to his well, positioning altogether. But boy, oh boy, that was a good fight coming in from the side of Crypto. He was on point. He certainly did hold his position for quite some time. But again, just being one man strong against a team of three is going to be difficult.
Dante was kind of playing with the prey there. It was just peeking the angle, then going back in, peeking the angle, going back in, peeking the angle, going back in, just making Crypto's death a little bit way much more worse, making him suffer. And that's how Crypto went down. Dante is a cruel man indeed. But now Astra Academy as well against Portal Esports opening things up. Joker taken down. They need to watch out though, as one of the players from Astra Academy has went down as well. So now Portal Esports, I feel like the entire squad has finally been wiped out by Astra Academy.
Absolutely. For now, we are looking at one player knocked, but they do have other team members right around them, so should be able to get that revival. But one thing they do need to keep in mind is they are in the military region for now, which is outside the zone, so they better push it. They better push it. Talking about another team that was not in the circle is going to be, well, Futurestation, another team that was making that late rotation from the north, have still not found themselves in the zone for the moment. Talk about teams that are in the zone. We are looking at High Voltage, taking this compound for themselves. All four members still alive, looking pretty confident with those 3 defeats in their name, and now they have their crosses marked towards the side of Seal Esports. Seal Esports is right on across that hill, but will not be making it easy for High Voltage to be able to get those kills. On the other tangent is going to be DRS as well. And talk about, wow, talk about this team, Futurestation. They did make that rotation, but they walked straight in towards the side of Seal Esports, and that is what is keeping Seal Esports busy and High Voltage absolutely dry when it comes down to the bloodthirst that they were showcasing against Seal Esports for the moment. That's just for the moment, because as soon as Seal Esports is done, they are probably going to be retaliating.
That's for sure. Retaliation is going to be the main key inside the game. You will need to retaliate back if you're in a real bad situation and things are kind of turning against you. Retaliation should be there. As A1 Esports opening things up against Deadeyes this time, but it seems like it's going to be Skylightz Gaming joining the fray from the back lines. Kind of a third-party side, though. Beyond, of course, the man doing a lot of work. Shycott almost went down as well, but he was barely able to get him down in the nick of time, and he will be popping a first aid in as well. So up till now, A1 Esports are looking pretty decent. The entire squad of Skylightz Gaming, though, has made it up top the hill. Heaven wants to send the entire squad of A1 Esports to hell, but is it going to be that easy?
Well, it certainly is going to be with that perfect nade coming in. That is just domination, along with which we talk about Skylightz. The approach that they've had is going to be a very good flank angle coming in from Heaven, as well as Joker was trying to get in towards the flank, and he will be able to get himself in that position from the looks of it, which has now resulted in A1 Esports in a very tricky situation. Sinister is the one who's got all the health in his favor, but when it comes down to the utility, when it comes to the helmet, and of course the West, that is where things are going to be difficult. And right here, this team needs to back out of this situation. A1 certainly needs to back out of this situation, because Skylightz is a 4-man strong army, and the way they are setting themselves up for this fight is looking pretty confident and comfortable, but seems like they're going to be walking out of it. They are not interested. They were more interested in getting into the circle.
I mean, of course, winning the entire game is going to be the main priority. But again, the fight for the last solid game, putting in an insane amount of pressure on the players of Venom Esports. And finally, the final nail has been put in the coffin as the final man falls down from the side of Venom Esports and Skylightz Gaming, showing their domination inside the game as well. I just want to see how these teams actually do inside the regional finals that are upcoming.
So true, mate, because again, I mean, right now we are part of the scrims that are going on along, and the scrims do imply a lot of crazy strats that these teams are open to try out, of course. But right here, when you talk about crazy strats, this is where you have a look at this team of Futurestation, who seems to have finally gotten closer and closer towards the center of the circle, but they are also at the receiving end thanks to Venom Legends. And right now it is Deadeyes against God's Reborn that we are looking at on our screens, and God's Reborn have certainly gotten that upper hill advantage working in their favor with the smoke being utilized from Deadeyes. It is going to be information being given out to the side of God's Reborn as well.
Now it seems like Yashiro has spotted out Siyok. They're out in the open. Let's cover. Take a look at this, man. Yashiro is doing so much damage from such a far away distance. And this is what I like about Yashiro. This man is a man of precision. And finally, the kill that they were looking for has been found. Siyok went down. Deadeyes kind of in a bit of pickle and kind of in a heap of trouble. And now it seems like Siyok as well dealing a little bit of damage here and there on the players of God's Reborn. Yashiro almost got caught off guard. But Siyok just has this wooden shack on his name. But he needs to find a good and a solid cover later on, though.
That certainly is going to be the case, because again, he's the only man surviving for the team, and one good grenade, one good nade or Molotov could very well be the end of that lad right there in that small little shed. But talk about God's Reborn approach. They have two members of the team who have been knocked. We now see Zeus Esports probably as well chiming in along. Yes, there we see in the kill feed as well as on the map. Zeus Esports is going to be bringing those retaliation against the side of Venom as well as the other team. But take that conversation towards Skylightz Gaming and High Voltage. A two-man strong army of High Voltage, a three-man strong army, my apologies there, is going to be taken and rushing towards the side of Skylightz. But Skylightz are looking pretty comfortable for the moment, because the Ridge might just be able to save them for a few more seconds.
For a few more seconds. But now Skylightz Gaming, a demon going to be the last man alive in that little pit. High Voltage is right there on top. And we have seen in the past as well, and High Voltage is kind of known for their tactical approach inside the game. And this is what really amazes me about this squad. We have seen them do pretty good inside the PMPLs. And the tactical approach they bring to the game is just an absolutely incredible beauty to witness. But now take a look at Skylightz Gaming. Demon, of course, the last man alive inside a pit. He doesn't even have a high ground on his name. A lot of things are not really going right for him. How is he going to be retrieving back from this position?
Well, again, I mean, when it comes to Skylight's Demon, right, the best thing for him that is going to help him live and outlive a bit more than the other competition is that at least that Ridge is going to help him from those third parties. Had he been out in the open, like Aussie for that matter, you know, High Voltage Aussie knows that there is a team member who is going to be in that crevice, but at the same time, he's out in the open. And that's the only thing that is, again, going to be his downfall. There we see him being sent back into the lobby, and it is Skylight's Demon who seems to have been able to get away. But it is a really broken lobby, my apologies, broken buggy that could be the end for that lad. But move the conversation towards TUF as they push on alongside Venom. They are going to be able to get perfect point for themselves and start off with that one defeat. Eventually, will Nightwing and the lads be able to get this retaliation from TUF be pushed against them? Yes, is the answer from the looks of it.
Beautiful cover fire from the backlines by Nightwing now, but Zeus is still holding on strong as they are seeing DRS making the rotation right in their front lines. And it seems like they have realized the heat of the situation and they want to rotate as well. Zeus for now are looking pretty strong as DRS found themselves that smoke cover, shrouding themselves inside the smoke. But for how long is going to be the question, because Zeus has them locked in their sights, and we do know Zeus are not really known for missing any shots.
Boy, oh boy, this is turning into quite an adventurous fight when it comes down to this final game for the day, because after all, it is T2K right there in the kill feed that you can see bringing down players of Zeus Esports. TUF right here were not able to retaliate the way they wanted to against the side of Venom Legends and have now gotten themselves only 2 players alive, and that too have been separated thanks to Venom Legends' approach to the fight. But now, this is where Venom Legends might want to just stick back and keep that crosshair away from this fight, because they do want to be able to survive. We've got 8 teams alive for the moment. We're looking at 21 minutes plus into the game. As we move on towards these final few battles, this is where a lot of third parties are going to be kicking in. We've got God's Reborn on top of that hill that knows a lot of information, can see that smoke, and will probably be able to retaliate, along with which we also had Astra finally chiming in along. This is going to be a lot of kills in a few moments now.
It's just going to be hell breaking loose in those end game situations as the circle shifts. As the circle shrinks down, 8 teams still alive, quite a lot of teams in such a small circle. The next circle shift is going to be the most interesting one. That's where a lot of kills will be falling down. That's where a lot of teams will be falling down. But Zeus, though, still alive, good looking. All 4 players alive inside the competition. Do realize the heat of the situation. Do make it inside the circle, and that's what they're going to be prioritizing first. But TUF, unfortunate turn of events, doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon for this team, as ESP is going to be the last man alive, and Avenger has went down. The res will probably not be that easy to get on, and I'm pretty sure ESP is not going to be going for the res anytime soon.
No, he better not, because again, they have been separated quite a lot, and it is of course God's Reborn that had the upper hand with the hill that worked in their favor as well when it comes down to this push that they tried to make against Venom. But no, they will not be able to confirm that, because after all, it is going to be God's Reborn Sad Mad who will be knocked down as well. He was certainly able to convert that into that 1 kill, so that's good. That is going to be really good, but he will be sent back into the lobby with that fire burning over him. But eventually, it's only 1 player alive from the side of God's Reborn, and there are still 2 to 3 players that could stay alive from the side of Astra Academy, and Astra Academy is also looking pretty dominating and comfortable when it comes down to their positioning in the circle. Zeus Esports, all 4 members alive with 7 defeats to their name as of now, with 16-0, correction. There are, boy, oh boy, this is just so much of action going on around. This is just perfect. 5 teams remaining, 24 minutes in. Zeus Esports, 7 kills. We've got DRS right there, as well as a Academy, which is going to be Astra Academy. My apologies there, but dude, perfect turn of events. Venom is left with only 1 man surviving for the moment.
DRS up till now, still looking pretty good though. Zeus opening things up here and there. Leos did manage to get himself the knockdown he was looking for. Nades being locked in from the side of DRS. Getting a knockdown against a player like Zeus is not going to be easy. As I say this, DRS just proves that me wrong and gets knocked down onto Zeol. How can I forget? This is one of the teams that have one of the most precision, especially on their utility usage, and this is what they're known for, even in the PMPL. I was saying this over and over again, that DRS probably has one of the best utility usage. Leos as well, following the knockdown spree, taken down easily. Now Abley is the last man surviving, and I'm pretty sure going for the res such late in the game is gonna be a mistake.
Dude, it is certainly looking like a rain of nades coming on towards Zeus, thanks to DRS Gaming's approach in this entire fight. With that, it is DRS that's going to be pushing on along, and Venom Legends' final player, Nightwing, right here, keeping a very low-key spot for himself, staying as far away from the fight as possible. He does not have a lot of information when it comes down to the area that he is in, but he knows that there are players around him that he does not want to give away the information to. Zeus Esports on the other side are going to try and get their players survived. It is Nightwing who might be at the receiving end. When it comes to Astra Academy, we've got 2 players who know exactly what to expect from that side of this final circle, where indeed 4 teams are alive. Astra Academy, 2-man surviving. They know where exactly that final player is going to be. DRS Gaming, all 4 members alive, could be taking this wonderful game in their favor. But in all of this action and lack of action, we have Zeus being able to revive the final player. So we've got 2 players from Zeus chiming in along as well.
Cliffs from Zeus chiming in as well, but the res will not be there. Abley taken down, and now finally seems like Zeus aren't really having the time of their life, and this might be it for Zeus, because stuff is not really looking good on their side. DRS is putting in the relentless pressure from their side. Astra Academy still alive. 2 players only. The last 2 men are surviving, Leos. Maybe this is where Zeus and Astra Academy starts working together, and this is where maybe Astra Academy open things up for Leos. And Leo's position is still pretty anonymous, and this is where DRS might just crumble it down.
Well, again, when you talk about the way DRS have themselves fanned out, this could result in them walking away from the situation, because after all, there is a lot of information that has been given away. But along with that, Zeus Esports is the one that's been sent back into the lobby. That was only that final man alive. That's going to be Leo's, the final man to be sent back into the lobby. We've got 2 teams alive, and that is going to be DRS, 3 members alive against the side of Astra Academy, with 2 members looking strong. As they move on along, Nima has been brought down to his knees, thus resulting in only a 2v2 situation where Tap, he better get himself rezzed, mate, because, oh well, sadly, he only has bandages working in his favor, but it would have been awesome if he could get a full health, because this is looking like a situation that could result in Astra Academy having the better end of this fight. And yes is the answer, where Pika was ready for that peak. Now we've got a 2v1 situation. Mafia Ninja should have gotten the information relayed from Nima as well as the other lad, but eventually will Mafia Ninja respond? But for now, he seems to be just taking a snail's space.
Just hiding inside the bush, being one with the nature. Mafia Ninja, only a matter of seconds when he does get spotted out. Maybe he's just waiting for the right moment to strike. Certainly Astra Academy doesn't seem like they're quite interested in leaving their cover, but he has been spotted out finally. Now they have an idea that he's hiding inside the bush. Mafia Ninja finally exposing his body, and yes, that's going to be enough as Astra Academy closes the game out in their favor, and an incredible turn of events for this team. The way these lads just clutched out a 2-on-4 situation against a big mammoth-like team like DRS, well, hats off.
Hats off indeed, mate, because that was just perfect, very skilled level of play coming in from the side of Astra, and that has resulted in them getting and walking away with 12 kills, a chicken dinner on top of that. Talk about Zeus Esports' approach towards this final few moments in the game. It was a bit tricky that they were stuck in, but eventually they were looking pretty comfortable as well with the 8 kills that they've gotten for themselves. This is going to be pretty close when it comes down to who's going to be on top. Of course, on the other side, when you talk about the other teams, like for example Seal Esports right here, only had 1 kill. Skylightz Gaming walked away with 4 kills. High Voltage were looking pretty good in the action as well, as they had 5 kills for themselves. A1 Esports' Dante, the man, as you spoke about, is the one who's still holding strong the reins from A1 Esports' side. But Stalwart Flex, again and again, not having a good start to season 2, I would say.
Not having a good start this season 2, but again, just the first day. And as we did mention, just scrims, you know, it all matters. How do these teams, I mean, especially these top teams who have been selected or moved forward in the regional finals, how are they going to be performing in the regional final? Because that's a bigger event. That's a bigger stage. I mean, of course, Talaflex weren't really able to, you know, qualify, and that's quite an unfortunate turn of events for that team. But how do teams like DRS and Zeus perform, and a lot much more teams that have qualified in the regional finals? How do they perform on the bigger stage? I mean, these are just scrims. These are practice matches. This is where you need to test your strategies out before you play the bigger stage.
Absolutely, mate. And again, talking about that bigger stage, well, that's still a few weeks away. Talking about just this week right now itself, we are looking at, I mean, some amazing turnover wins coming in from these X-Factor teams. That has resulted in, of course, previous game we saw Zeus Esports walking away with the chicken dinner. This time around, we saw Astra Academy. Again, it seemed like they should not have been able to get that chicken dinner, but they were just so confident and comfortable in their skin, in their positioning, that they were able to go against a 4-man strong DRS Gaming squad. And that was just perfect turnover wins, along with which Astra Academy, I believe, also did knock down the final player of Zeus Esports.
Yep, they did it. They did. I mean, to be honest, I really feel like the final player of Zeus was actually taken down by, I think so it was DRS. Yeah, the final player of Zeus was taken down by DRS, and this is how they gave their position away. And this is where Astra, you know, maybe they use the final player of Zeus as a meat shield and as a information conveyor. This is where they got the info that, okay, one of the player is actually hiding behind that tree, and that's how they found themselves the opening.
Absolutely could be the case, mate. But again, I mean, you talk about the second page of this leaderboard right here, where we are looking at the match rankings. Futurestation, a team that did make a really late rotation, have still not been able to come up on top. Venom Legends, on the other hand, well, slowly and steadily, once again, they are proving their marker. Here they are on the 5th spot in the overall rankings. UC Sports certainly has taken over onto that first position with that chicken dinner working in their favor, and 4 points shy is what Astra Academy is at for now.
Just 4 points, not really far away. Astra trying to catch up against Zeus, though. This is going to be a beautiful run. This is going to be an interesting run. And I really want to see the next page of the scrims, though, because in the next latter half, I want to see how the overall rankings are looking like. But teams like Skylightz Gaming, well, unfortunate stuff for them, especially inside these scrims. Maybe we just need to give them a little bit more time, just a little bit more time to get themselves settled in.
Absolutely, mate, because again, I mean, the 10 points that we're looking at from Stalwart Flex's play today is only going to be based on the first game placement point that they were able to walk away with. Apart from that, you could bring the conversation towards, of course, Skylightz Gaming as well as TRZ Esports. Now, these teams also are slowly and steadily getting into the grind of the thing, but eventually, for now, when it comes to the overall ranking, it is the points that they are lacking in quite a lot. Talking about teams that are lacking from those points, these teams like XP Legion, INES, Futurestation, Team QWERTY, they need to really showcase a bit more of a wild card approach, a bit more of an X-Factor approach when it comes to these scrims to be able to stand strong when it comes down to these battles.
That's for sure. That's for sure. But I mean, what exactly is happening to teams like Futurestation and INES? That's quite an interesting question, that I always keep on wondering. I mean, a team like Blood Legion as well this time, not really able to show up on those top leaderboards, kind of sads me, kind of makes me sad. But now let's take a look at the top player from that previous game, and of course it's going to be Astra Academy's player, and it seems like he has got himself 4 kills. Another player from Astra Academy, Action being the man with 4 kills again.
Wow, I mean, this is just perfect turn of events for the side of course, Astra Academy team that has been chiming along from the wildcard region when it comes to this wonderful scrims. But perfect, absolutely perfect. Once again, I mean, as you so perfectly asked, what exactly is going wrong when it comes to Futurestation, INES, XP Legion? Hopefully they will find that answer when it comes to their synergy, when it comes to their rotation, when it comes to their play altogether itself, because that is going to be really crucial for them to do so. After all, these are these practice matches that they need to find out the flaw. All the teams needs to find out their flaw and then be able to come back stronger on the next day.
Exactly. With all those 3 matches, the first day is over. It's pretty much over, and we did witness quite a lot of action with that. But now I really want to see how things do continue forward, how things resume on the second day. I'm pretty sure you're interested as well.
Oh yes, absolutely, Necro. Because again, I mean, we've got 3 games done, all on Erangel for day number 1 of season 2. Now we're going to be going, and of course, we will be back again with day 2 of season 2, you lads. So we'll be back again tomorrow with all of these wonderful streams and all of these wonderful teams. But until then, you guys take care and sayonara.
Let's get it.